Hunter Mackie of Carrick Braith here with another installment about the history of the Clan Mackay. This time I was going to focus a little more on heraldry than I normally do. I'm here in the Kirkton of Forbes, which is just at a bend of the River Don in sort of northeast Aberdeenshire. This is in the heartland of Clan Forbes territory. And why am I here? Well, there's an historic connection between Clan Forbes and Mackay, and it's a particular heraldic connection. There is a legend about an ancient Irish warrior, O'Connor, who comes over from Ireland to this part of Scotland. And he has a betrothed. Some legends say her name is Bess, that he is, of course, deeply in love with. And she's from this very area. But at the time that he's here, there are lean times, meaning that some of the wildlife hereabouts are having a tough time filling their bellies. In particular, a great monstrous bear that lives in this region. In fact, some folks say that he lived in what's now called the Braes of Forbes, which is just up the river and around the corner from here. Well, that bear ended up killing and eating 9 maidens from this area, 9 young women, in order to satisfy his hunger during these lean times. The 9th maiden was Bess, the beloved of O'Connor, this Irish warrior. So he took it upon himself to get revenge for his beloved, and he goes a-hunting for this great bear. He ends up tracking it down and indeed slaying the bear, again, not far from here. There was a spot just up around the way from here, marked by a stone where the slaying, according to legend, took place. It was called the Boar's Stone. And there were also a couple of different sites near here that it's claimed where the 9 maidens were buried who were killed by this bear. Well, the Forbes clan ultimately took this knight O'Connor as their progenitor, as their first chief, as it were. There's a bit of a humorous tale told, or idea, that the name of the clan comes from this knight O'Connor. When he's thrusting his spear into the bear, he shouts out, "For Bess." For Bess, Forbes is the idea. That's a bit of a potentially comical origin story for the name. It's much more likely that it is an ancient phrase meaning a strong or a brave warrior that gives rise to the Forbes surname. In any event, all of that is supposed to have taken place here, and this is one of the Forbes churchyards where historically there are a number of clansmen of the Forbes buried. And as I say, the incident itself is alleged to have taken place just up the river from here at the Braes of Forbes. Heraldically, this incident is commemorated in the shield of the chiefs of Forbes, which is a blue shield with 3 bears' heads. But more about that in just a moment. So Hunter, that is the legend of the progenitor of the Clan Forbes, O'Connor, and how he battled this ferocious wild bear in order to get revenge for its having slain his beloved, and also to assert his authority over these lands. But what is the connection between O'Connor and the Mackays. In other words, why am I telling you all of this? Well, the answer to that is here at Drummonore Castle, which is northeast of that area I showed you, the Braes of Forbes, where this legendary battle with the bear took place. Drummonore Castle, as it's known now, used to be known simply as Castle Forbes. For generations, it was the seat of the chiefs of Clan Forbes. And in order to proclaim that, above the door here on the main portion of the house, almost looks like a tower here, there is a carving of the arms of the Forbes, of the chiefs of the Forbes. And those arms, for any Mackay clansman, will be instantly reminiscent of the arms of our chief. For the arms of the Forbes are a blue shield with 3 silver bears' heads, remarkably similar to those of the Lord Reay. So why is there this similarity? The Lord Reay, the first Lord Reay, Sir Donald, actively sought to make a connection between himself and the Forbes family. He claimed that they were related, and indeed, for a long time, there was a theory that the Mackay clan shared as their progenitor O'Connor, this same Irish warrior who was the progenitor of the Forbes. Now, it's thought widely that this is not truly the case today, but certainly Sir Donald was advocating that story. It's not even clear that he himself would have believed it, but he certainly wanted to make that connection with the Forbes family as a powerful family, not only here, but also in the north. Indeed, our first Lord Reay acquired the lands of Reay, from which he took his title, from the Forbes chiefs. The Forbes chiefs had acquired the Reay lands from the Sinclairs, and then ultimately were in a position to sell them to our chief in the early 17th century. And so that when our chief was raised to the peerage in that same century, he took as his title Lord Reay from those lands he'd acquired from the Forbeses, and he also adopted arms to emphasize his familial connection, his kinship, his clan connection with the Clan Forbes. Again, that is graphically apparent to anybody who compares the two shields side by side. So what the Lord Reay had done here was signified to the world that he was a kinsman of the Chief of Forbes, and also that he was subordinate to him. He was claiming the Chief of Forbes as his own chief by using the shield of the Chiefs of Forbes with a slight difference, that being the silver chevron with the roebuck's head and the 2 hands with their daggers on it. So he would do this essentially to make that connection with the Forbes family, but also he's being careful not to have anybody make a mistake that he himself is trying to lay claim to the chieftaincy of the Forbes, because if he used the same shield, that would be suggesting that he, Sir Donald, was the chief of the Forbes, which he wasn't. So in order to clarify that, he adds the silver chevron with those devices on it. The reality behind this decision is probably a political one, because at that time there had been a common enemy of the Forbes and the Mackays, which were the Gordons and the Sutherlands. Indeed, the destruction of our chief's primary castle in Mackay country, Castle Boer, occurred at the hands of the Gordons, having received a commission to bring Mackay to task for ignoring a summons from the Queen Regent. Huntly had forces proceed north via ship and besiege the Castle Boer, which fell, and the castellan, the head of the garrison there, was killed. I believe it was a nephew of our chief. The Forbes too had their clashes with the Gordons, and so the theory is that Sir Donald was seeking to solidify and emphasize that connection with the Forbes, particularly in their common confrontations with the Gordons and peripherally the Sutherlands. So as a result of that emphasis, we have the arms for our chiefs that we do today, which are essentially the arms of the Forbes chiefs with the difference that I mentioned. And so that, at least, is the origin story of the bear's heads in our chiefs' arms. Some people might ask why there are 3 heads. There was only one bear that was subject to the battle. Well, in heraldry, because it is in part a branch of art, symmetry is often sought. And so on the triangular shape of a shield, instead of having one bear's head in the center, which leaves a lot of space around it, often what's done is you have 3 devices, 2 in the top corner and 1 in the bottom to fill that space. So in the case of Forbes and Mackay, we have the 2 bear's heads in the top and the 1 bear's head in the bottom. Now they're muzzled in both cases. Somebody might ask why, if it's a wild, monstrous bear, would it be remembered as a domesticated, or not domesticated, but a captive bear, having been muzzled? My only answer to that is that heraldry coming out of the Middle Ages, a time during which most people's exposure to bears would have been through bears in captivity when they would have been muzzled, that would be an origin for depicting in heraldic art a bear's head being muzzled. You also see them in heraldry unmuzzled, but it seems that more often than not you do see them with muzzles. So it's really just an artistic convention there. Anyways, I hope this is useful not only to you, Hunter, but to all of our clansmen, and getting a better understanding of why our chiefs' arms look the way they do.